We're here at South Union and we are visiting Just Piddlin Farms. Chip Willingham and his family have created a nice little treasure right here in this community. You can come out, pick your own pumpkin, you can go and play in the corn pit, the straw maze, the corn maze, the pedal track, and the list goes on and on. Even some hay rides for that great fall afternoon. But one of the great treasures here is his fall squash. You can come out here and get a variety of those fall squash to take home and add to your fall menu. So let's go visit with Chip now.
Me and my wife Jill, we've always been involved in agriculture. We both grew up on farms, and this was something that we could do that was small scale and really replaced our tobacco. One time we raised tobacco, and so when we decided to get out of the tobacco business, we decided to raise pumpkins. And we started out real small, just an acre or so, selling them at the end of our driveway. And now it's grown to what it is today.
Now this is a family operation. I know that you mentioned that you and Jill have backgrounds in agriculture, but your kids are involved with the farm as well.
They're very involved with it, pulling weeds, picking pumpkins, doing a lot of things that kids just don't like to do.
My dad would call that character building.
Exactly, yeah. We built a lot of character, yeah.
Now, when families come out here, because I know a lot of families, like this is the it place to come, what can they experience when they come to Just Piddlin Farm?
Well, what we try to do is give people the experience to come out into the patch, because when you look at the patch, it's really kind of a neat place. You can see so many different, you see from the blooms to the honeybees working the blooms, to the crops that are just growing, from that green pumpkin. And so many people don't realize that a pumpkin starts out green and then turns orange. And then we have a lot of the produce, like the butternut squash, the festival squash, spaghetti squash, and it gives them a chance to see where it's actually grown and actually pick it from the vine instead of buying it off that supermarket shelf.
And you raise a lot of different varieties of winter squash.
As you can see here, this is spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash is one of the, I guess, our customers' favorite products to try. Spaghetti squash, it's kind of a different tasting vegetable, but a lot of people like it. And then we've got the butternut. Butternut is, everybody's heard of butternut squash, but it's something that we've learned a lot about. And then the festival squash, it's really a pretty vegetable that it's great for decorating, but it's very simple to cut open and use as a squash to bake, or in several different ways you can cook the squash.
Yeah, so Chip, not only can they come out here, they can get their pumpkin, have a great family day out here, but then they can go home with some very nutritious, long-lasting squash for their family.
Yes, they can buy these products, and we have people that'll take like butternut squash and hang it in baskets in their cellar, and they'll keep it all winter long.
So Chip, you talked about being involved with agriculture all your life. Why do you continue to farm?
Well, I just enjoy it. Part of it is just the enjoyment of planting a seed and watching it grow all the way through. It's our way of interacting with the community. It gets the community out to the farm because we feel like that we've really been blessed with a great farm, and we want to share it with other people.
Well, I know that the entire community loves to come out here. I know after school, this is like the it place to come in the fall. All the kids and the family want to come out here. So I do. I appreciate you providing and welcoming people onto your farm and sharing a little bit of that with the community.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This time of the year makes me so giddy and excited. I love fall. I love fall because of the colors, because of all the tastes, because of all the fun events that we get to go and the places and the agritourism locations that we get to visit with our families. Earlier today, I stopped by Just Piddlin Farms, and they have an abundance of sizes and varieties of pumpkins and of winter squash, which is what we're going to use today. So I picked some up, and the recipe that I'm going to share with you is such a delicious side dish. It's something a little unique using butternut squash. And you'll see it at the grocery store, you'll see it at the market. It looks like this, and sometimes it can be a little intimidating of how do I prepare this. So today we're gonna squash your fear of squash and show you a delicious, pretty healthy recipe to share with your family. So before you get started, go ahead and preheat your oven at 375 degrees and then pull all your ingredients out. And you'll see here that we just have a few. We've got some green Granny Smith apples, again, pulling in that fall flavor. We have maple flavoring. You will find this in the grocery store where the vanilla is. And so pick some of that up. We have walnuts, brown sugar, olive oil, and again, our butternut squash. So when you're gonna use your butternut squash and you're thinking about how you wanna cut it and prepare it, the simplest way is to take a vegetable peeler and just peel away the skin. And unlike summer squash, winter squash is very firm And that's so that the squash can stay in the ground during the cool season without getting damaged. But make sure you pick out a squash that doesn't have any scrapes or any damage that you can see, any soft spots, that sort of thing. So you'll peel it, like I've mentioned, with a vegetable peeler. You'll cut it in half, and you'll take a spoon and you'll scoop out the seeds, kind of like pumpkin seeds almost, and you'll scoop those out. And then what I've done for the recipe, and just for time's sake, I went ahead and I cubed our butternut squash up. So in a 9x11 baking dish, I'm going to put my butternut squash in, and then we're going to use our 2 Granny Smith apples. And I like to keep the skin on the apples so that we get that extra fiber, and so that this dish can be just as colorful as it possibly can. And so then I'm just going to go through and cube your apples up. Your bites are probably going to be a little bit smaller with the apple than the squash. So now you're going to take your extra virgin olive oil and your brown sugar, and you're going to use a whisk, and you're going to whisk those ingredients together. And then add your maple flavoring. And give it just a simple toss. Make sure you incorporate all those ingredients. You can really smell this maple flavor, but you want to make sure that the maple is combined throughout. And then you're going to take it and you'll pour your mixture over top of your apples and squash. We're going to use tongs and give it a good combining mix. You're going to have those chunks of brown sugar bites, but you do want to try to make sure that you have a little bit of the mixture all over the apples and the butternut squash. Add a dash of salt and then some chopped walnuts. Now your dish is ready to go into your preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Be prepared to have the fall scent take over your home. So within just 15 or 20 minutes of cooking time, you have a delicious fall recipe. So easy, you guys, and it's just so flavorful. Again, like I've mentioned, the smell of this fall dish has taken over, and it just gives you that warm, cozy feeling that fall should. The sweet and the crisp and the crunch that you have with the walnuts paired with this butternut squash and the apples. So delicious. Who knew using a butternut squash, a recipe could be as flavorful and as simple as this right here. We hope you'll give this delicious recipe a try, and you'll go out and visit Chip at Just Piddlin Farm. Tell him we sent you and pick up some of his delicious, fresh winter squash, whether it be butternut, spaghetti, acorn squash, the list could go on and on. So until we see you next time, we wish you all a happy and a healthy fall.